I'm here at Mount Carmel Cemetery, established in 1890, and it was part of this town that once existed here known as Ehren in Pasco County, Florida. And this is an African American cemetery, and you can see it's preserved here today. Let's take a look around at the cemetery. There's a historical marker here and describing some of the history as well. Mount Carmel Church and Cemetery, serving a local African American community. This was the site of Mount Carmel African Methodist Episcopal Church, a wooden structure. An early pastor was Reverend Christopher C. Marshall, followed in later years by Reverend Byron Dawkins. The congregation folded sometime after the Great Depression, and members joined other local churches. There are many unmarked graves here, and the date of the first burial is unknown, although it is believed that the cemetery dates back to the mid-1800s. The first marked grave is 1903, and the latest is 1954. It's a busy road here near the cemetery. Unfortunately, many of these areas in this county and throughout Florida are becoming developed rapidly. We're losing a lot of history and wilderness areas due to the development, so it's important to always keep these areas of history preserved while we still can. Very important. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Langston Hughes. Lance's dream to preserve Mount Carmel Cemetery created a lasting legacy for future generations, a historical place of peace and reflection. There are many unmarked graves here, and you can see a lot of depressions. There are burials here. There's PVC pipes indicating grave site. Now I can see some tombstones that do remain at the cemetery. Many of them are hard to read. Take a look around. Ehren African American community. The Ehren Pine Company sawmill employed a large number of local African Americans, many of whom lived in the company housing. Others worked in agriculture and for the railroad. Serving the spiritual needs of that population were Mount Carmel AME Church and also Oak Grove Baptist Church, which was located nearby on Ehren Cemetery Road. Reverend Joe Bowen served as one of the pastors of the Oak Grove congregation before it disbanded in the 1940s. See some burials here throughout the area. Depressions in the ground. There's some pipes over here indicating some of the graves. Here's a tombstone here that is nicely preserved. Eddie, son of R.M. and M.V. Lewis, born March 17, 1892, and passed away in November of 1906. Depression here. You can see a tombstone still remains up against the tree there. That one's hard to read though. It's been eroded away. Here's a grave. You can read the name. Blocker is the last name. Born in 1876 and passed away in 1954. See, this tombstone here is hand scribed. 1861 is the date. Nice, beautiful open pastures here in the perimeter of this cemetery. You see some cattle out there grazing, lands. Imagine how this area was during times when this cemetery was active and when it was initially established, how different this area must have been. They've been housing around the area. Lots of activity going on. This is interesting. Here at the cemetery, just look ahead, I can see some markers indicating some sort of outline. It may have been part of the structure that was here, the church. Let's take a look. So you can see here at the cemetery, these markers here indicating some sort of structure that may have been here. There's an outline, a square-like outline, perimeter here. Really interesting if this was where the church was. It was a wooden structure, so oftentimes they don't last very long. See the pieces of wood here around this area. I can't say for sure, but perhaps some of these pieces of wood were from the original structure that was possibly standing here in this area. After the sawmill burned in 1920, many residents moved away. Some residents remained and worked in Drexel and Odessa and other nearby communities. Sitting here at this cemetery at the bench, and it's very nice just to take in all the history, and I'd like to take a moment to thank everybody that volunteers and helps keep up the cemetery, maintaining the history. It's well appreciated. Thanks to Tyson Henry and the Eagle Scout Project Troop 206, who installed this bench here in July of 2017. Thank you very much. Sit here on this bench. Nice place here at the cemetery. Just taking in the history